Welcome to Final Cut. Sorry, my room is a little bit echoey. I'm a brand new construction room, so if you can't hear me clearly, just let me know. I'll repeat it slowly. Okay, so I will basically get through Final Cut, just basically all the basics of it, and I'll demo basically how you put together any videos and how to sync it, how to organize it, and how to put different boxes, or even if you want to take it one step further, we can move the box as well. So let's get into the interface real quick. So Final Cut here, if you're familiar with iMovie, it looks pretty similar. It just gives you actually a lot more functions in here. So here we have a browser, so you can look through the videos. And first thing of all, once you've opened Final Cut, very first thing you're gonna do is a new, and you're gonna create a library. So basically this library will consolidate all the things you have. So you can name it, and I would highly suggest when you're editing, use an external hard drive. That's gonna ease off a lot of the computer's CPU, and also it will make everything smoother. So usually what I do is I will have a external hard drive, and I'll put my library and all my videos there. So once you created a new library, so it will be here. And after that, you can create a new event. So event is basically a folder. You can name, you can group the folders in, if you have a orchestra, you can, okay, this is woodwinds, or this is percussion. So you can group them in different groups. So once I create one, you see here, it will come up here, and you can rename it. I would say this is students A, or however you want to name it. So after you create the event, you can click import media. So here's the part you will find where the files you download, either you download it on your computer or on your external hard drive. You basically find the files, the video files. Just open this. So, and then you just select the files. And here, one thing, after today, we're gonna post these videos back online. So you can come back and actually take a look on the settings I have, and you can just copy what I have when you actually do it. So here, let me explain this side a little bit. So files, there's two ways to do it. One is copy the library, one is leave files in place. So when you click on copy the library, basically the Final Cut will make a copy of the video file to the library, which the one we just create in the beginning. So that will make basically it's making a second copy, and it consolidates all the video file in your library. So if you think, oh, I don't have that much space, because basically that means it would double the video file space on your hard drive. So what I normally do, I'll just leave files in place. So they just, I only have that one copy of the file. And of course, for safety, I always recommend you have a second copy on a different hard drive, put it somewhere else, or you have it on Dropbox, it's on the cloud, then you always can, something happens to your hard drive, you can find a second copy. Okay, here the keywords, these usually I just leave it on. Basically, it just have the metadata of where the files in the Finder is. And all these others, you can leave it unchecked. We don't need this. And this assign audio row, leave it automatic. And this close window after starting import. So these basically you can come back and just copy what I do. Here, one thing up here, if you already created different events folder, you can basically select which folder you want to copy that to. So, oh, my lights went off. Hang on 1 second. The room light get off. Hang on a second. 1 second.
Oh, that's hysterical. There you go. He's actually over at the power station in my new office. We haven't moved in there yet.
Yes, it's a motion sensor light, I guess. Okay, so back. So here, let's say, okay, we select all the video, click import, and then basically back here, you will see this window. In this demo, I'm just gonna have 4 students. So that basically you just, if you're more, you just repeat the steps basically. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 students. And the first thing you're gonna do is basically synchronize everything. And I think we all, in the beginning, the first session, we give you an idea of roughly how to synchronize with the student with the clap. So here is actually how to synchronize that clap. You'll basically select all the videos and the audio track that you send to the student, like the guide track that you send to the student. So that will be your ruler for everything. After you select all of these, you right-click, and then you will select new multicam clip. So here you can rename it, and then down here, normally we will check this box, which use audio for synchronization. In this case, it doesn't work because every student the only thing you hear is their voice, which is not in the guide track at all. So this will uncheck this. So make sure this is unchecked when you do it. Everything else here, you leave it automatic. And video format, actually use automatic setting will be the best because sometimes students, even they do it on the phone, some phones have slightly different audio settings. So in video, in turn, we have different frame rates, 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, 60 frames. Most phones, like especially iPhone, does 30 frames. But you might have students have an Android, or some student, in our experience, they record with their laptop webcam. So that will give you a mixed different frame rates. The good thing about FinalCut, it can take everything, and it will take everything even though it's different. So if you come back to this video, so there's 2 ways. So this is custom setting. I would not suggest using this thing, just use automatic setting. So basically, FinalCut will pick a frame rate that's most of the clips is, and it will use that as the project frame rate. So once you hit OK, you will see this clip over here. We call it multi-clip. So it looks like a window. So this is a multi-clip. And once you double click on the multi-clip, it will show you this window. So this is we call angle editor. This is the place where you're going to synchronize all the video. So that's the first step so far. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast? We good? Okay, we'll keep continuing. So
I'm sorry, Simon.
Yes, go ahead.
So you said once you right-click, once you select all the videos by right-clicking, and then
right-click. Then new multicam.
New multicam. Oh, that's fine. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other question?
Hey, yeah. So I think I might have popped in just a hair late, but multicam, is that like, what exactly is that meaning? Is that just like what you're doing with the folder there? And is that just implying that there's going to be more than one video clip because it came from multiple cameras? Is that what that actually means? Or
yes. So basically, multi-clip, it's once you put all the videos together, it's, as you can explain, it's like a folder, but it will help you in the edits. When we jump to that part, when we put to the timeline, you'll see it actually speed up the process a lot. Compare, if you're stacking all the video one by one. So once we go to the timeline, I'll explain a little bit more. So you see how we're going to use it.
All right, I think I understand. Thank you.
No problem. Any other question?
Yeah, I got a question. Is there a specific way we should organize the files in terms of by instrument, or just put it all there at once? I've seen some people say that it's better to like maybe edit the winds first and then add in the brass and then later put everything together because it speeds up the process.
Yes. So when you have a 80 people orchestra, the thing is usually what we do, it will group every instruments, by their parts. So brass, strings, different thing. So when you actually editing it, so they can be showing different groups, because sometimes the strings are not playing in some parts. You just want to show the woodwind. Then you already have the group of woodwind. You can just show that group instead of every time you changing the box. Okay, in this part of the song is only this guy, so we need to take everything away. So every instrument group, it also depends on the music. If it's highly brass and you have a lot of brass part on that, then you can preset. Okay, I know it in like 1 minute. There's a huge part just the brass. Then you can pre-organize that together, and you don't have to basically move everything all the time. So we'll get into the grouping as well. Yeah, I'll show you. There's a way to do it. Okay. Any other questions?
I had a question. When you said that you select automatic, I think I'm just confused, because when you said, okay, once I press okay, it'll bring them all together. But it said, okay, so that's why I was confused. It says use custom settings, even though you're going to hit okay, but it's just giving you the option to change that, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
here it's just changed.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of confused. Yeah, I know what to say. So it shows, use custom setting. It's okay, but this is actually the auto setting.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Any other question? Yes.
Yeah, could I just ask a question? So Simon, I have gotten some clips together, and kind of from what you were just saying, I feel like there's a step before even getting into the program, which is kind of figuring out how you're going to use the video, almost so like, because yeah, if you know you're going to do brass in one section, like you don't really have to, do all the other video and edit all the other video, because that section's just going to be brass. So it's like that planning part something you do when you start a project.
Sort of, yes. Basically, you will. Before, like I did a couple orchestra piece for the DoE, so I would basically every time the very beginning, I would just group instruments in their groups. It's basically gives you a head start on basically switching between like a group of people. So I would, instead of switching one by one, I'll switch, okay, brass, winds, full orchestra, half of the orchestra. So it's like a group of different pages. You organize them, and then when you edit the video, you're showing different pages. So this page has full orchestra, this page has brass, and so on. Does that explain the process?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, but one thing, actually, it might be confused in the beginning. So for the multi-clip I just mentioned, so this multi-clip should have all the instruments. So in the group, when we group the different sections, is actually a different step. I'll go into in a bit. So let me clear that up. So this part, when you first create the multi-clip, actually you should have all the instruments lining up. So it's one huge folder, have everything, and later on we're gonna group everything in their instruments. Okay? I think it will be easier to understand when I actually do it. So it's hard to just talk through this part. Any other question? And we'll move on a little bit. Okay, so let's go to the synchronizing part. So once you load all the videos here and you double click that the multi-clip, it will show you this angle editor. So in the angle editor, there's few things you want to know. So this little icon over here is basically you select which angle you want to look at. So if you see, if I click on a different one, it shows that on this viewer, that's the viewer window. I can make it bigger. And same thing, if I click this, it will show that. And on next to it, this is the audio. So if you have that checked on, it will play the audio of that video clip. So first thing, let's say we want to synchronize this student over here. So in the beginning, when you want to play, so you just need to put your mouse right here. Final Cut, there's one thing, everything is kind of tiny. So you need to have the mouse in that tiny spot to get it work. So you have your mouse on this roller over here so that you can basically scroll around and you can hit play. So let me go to the correct audio track. So this audio track is the guide track. So make sure that's on so we can listen to that. And also make sure this is on so you listen to this student as well. So let's play it from the beginning. Okay, this actually I already synced it, so you can hear that she did the clap on the beat we. So here I'll show you how to move that around. So there's a few tools in the angle editor, so you can click over here. So now let's zoom in. So we did zoom tool, or you can press Z on the keyboard, zoom, and I will zoom in. So first thing we're going to look for is on the guide track. And after zooming, you go back to select to do the other stuff. So on the guide track over here, so I know this is with the click. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the downbeat of the third bar. So I want to line that clap with that. So this varies, depends on how you created the guide track to the students. You might have something not even there. Everyone's different. So just sync to that point that you tell the student to clap. So this is what we told the student to clap on the downbeat on the third bar. So I'll put my playback cursor over there. So this is about right there. After that, I'll go back up to see where the student is. Oh, it's actually kind of a little bit off. You see her clap versus the click is slightly off. So you want to move that. Here, how to move it, you need to go back here and we need to go to the position tool or P on the keyboard. After you select that, now you can basically move the video back and forth and it will show you, okay, this is -2 frame, 3 frame. I'll just basically just move this closer to the playback. So yeah, that looks pretty right. Okay, that should be lined up. But one thing is this clap is not always 100% perfect. So some student might be slightly behind, slightly ahead. So what you're gonna do is after you roughly line it up with your clap, I will go to a part and zoom out. Right? So if you want to zoom out, once you're in the zoom tool, press Option on your keyboard. You will see the zoom now is minus. So you see this is plus. If you press Option on the keyboard, it will be minus. So then you can zoom out. Another way to do it, let's go back to, it's right here, this icon over here. So here you can also do zoom in and out. And also you can change the size of the video. If you have a lot of students, then you probably want it smaller to see more. So here you can play with this, and it's just basically how you view in the Final Cut. So after we sync the clap, we will find the spot that the student is singing. Let's say here, maybe a part that's with the lyrics. Okay, so that part, then basically from now on, what we're going to do is listen to the students' audio on top of the guide track and see, musically if she or he is, on the beat. So we'll just listen for a bit. That's pretty good. So, but if you feel like, is the students a little bit ahead or behind, you can basically do the same thing. You zoom in, and then do the position 2, P, or you can do it here, position 2. And basically you can drag, +1 or 2, or even more if you feel like, it's not, they're playing or singing is not on the beat. So here you will do the fine adjustment. Let's say, okay, this sounds good. This student sounds 99% in sync. Then we can move on to the second one. So make sure when you move on to the second person, you just mute the first student. So you just click on this again. So now you don't listen to her. And let's go to this student.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Can you get the audio from your computer coming through? I think some of us are having a hard time hearing it. Sorry to interrupt again.
No problem. Yeah.
Like you might not have seen the chat, so yeah.
Let me reshare. Let me reshare my screen real quick. Let me stop it. Share computer audio. Okay, let me play the audios. Let me know if you hear it clear.
2, 3, measure 14.
Do you hear the audio clear?
We hear it now.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I'll demo again with this student. So this student actually, he actually vocally did the counting as well. So I'll play it again.
1, 2, 3, measure 14.
So this one is easy to sing. So we find this clap again, and we'll zoom in, and that's the downbeat. It might look a little bit off. Let's see. He's right on the beat. So we'll double check again. So we'll find a part they are playing. Usually something more rhythmic. It will be easier to figure out if their timing is off. So let's go back down. Okay, sounds pretty good. One other tool here you can control is volume. So this line over here, basically you can control the volume of the video. So if I want him louder, I can bring it up. But one thing to be aware, if it's shown red here, it means it's too loud, it's clipping. So just always make sure you don't see any red. I would say mostly if they record it on iPhone, the audio will be already, we call compressed. So it's already like the loudest as it can. So just be aware, don't make it red. So you will see in this audio meter here, here it's kind of hard to tell because this audio meter, it's a mix of both the student's audio plus the guide track. So one thing you can check is just uncheck the guide track, and you can listen to just the student. One more longing backward glance. Looks good. Yeah, so that's fine. So you can check out if the track is too loud here. If it's too loud, you can basically go to this line and just bring it down as you feel comfortable. So let me turn that guide track back on. Cool, so he is in sync. So you will do this step for basically all the students, and that's the very first thing you're gonna do with the project. Basically organize them in the browser, and you select everything, and then you will do the multicam clip and and the angle editor will one by one to synchronize them. So one thing you can organize in this multi angle editor, you can move them around. So this is actually one of the spots you can organize too. So let's say I want this 2 female students on top, then we can do that. So you can organize students in, again, if it's orchestra, percussion, the first 4, and the others involved. So now I'll show you a very cool thing. So why would we do this multicam, like spend all this time? So the thing is, in Final Cut, you can see all the angles at the same time. So in the, let me see where that is. I always hard to find. I use a shortcut all the time. I can't remember where it's actually. It's showing viewer. Cam. I'll look that up and I'll put it in when we post the video. So basically, the shortcut is Command Shift 7. So this is the multicam view in Final Cut. Command Shift 7. So you will see now here, you can see the angles. This one, there's settings. You can see up to 16 per time. If you have more than 16, it will divide it in different page. So this is, oh, sorry, my light comes out. One second.
I just love this. Oh, man.
I'm back.
That's just pretty, it gives you some exercise.
All right. Cool. So back to here. So we only have 4 in this this particular demo. So I'm just going to choose 4. So now, basically, I can look at all of them at the same time. So I'm just going to unmute this student. Let's say we just listen to the guide track for now, and I'll play back. So one thing you say, oh wow, if this can my computer handle, playing 4 video at the same time? If you have a really good newer laptop or a desktop, that will. But if you don't, you have an older computer. Actually, my laptop here right now is a 2017 MacBook Pro. There is a way to make the video a little bit lighter, so you can work in a lighter mode. So this is an important step. So after you synchronize all the video, before you start playing back everything, you will select all the video files and then right click. So you will see transcode media right here. What you're gonna do is check create proxy media, just that. This you might not see, this is the latest version of the Final Cut, so it will give you different codec for the proxy, but usually ProRes proxy group. H.264 is even a lower resolution. If you're an even older computer, you should choose this one. Now it's great because I already created the proxy media, so I already have it. So if you open it new, it will allow you to do this. So create proxy media, and you hit OK. It will take a little bit of time. So usually, if you have 10 or more, I would say leave the computer maybe overnight, or it might take up to a couple hours to do that. So how do you know when it's done? There's a window, which is, here, background task or Apple 9. So here, it will show you when you're doing it, it will, in transcoding and analyze, there will be a percentage coming, so 1%, to 99. So it does, unfortunately, it doesn't show you how much time left. It just shows you how many percent left to do. So I would say, be patient. Just if you see it going really slow, you might just have to leave the computer to run overnight. So just a heads up for you. Or you can do it in batches. I would just do 10 at a time and then do the other. So this step basically will make some smaller, low resolution video files for you to edit on. So once once you're all done with the proxy file, you will go to this viewer up here, right here, view, and you would choose proxy only. So now you in the proxy mode, which the video files are way smaller. So now if I play back here, it's way smoother, or better. I'm on a Zoom too, so that that takes some CPU. Let me go to a part later. I'll actually play you the actual mix we have so you can hear they're singing. Blah, blah, blah. Right here. Okay, so so this basically gives you the multi-view. We call it like basically watching a broadcast television. You have all the angles organized in here. So that's the first step before we get to edit. So so far, till this point, any questions you have?
Yeah, I got two questions actually.
Go ahead.
The first one, I was trying to research. Last year I had a hard time trying to align them, and I heard it's better to when you start your project to actually go to 4K 60, so you have more frames to shift. Is this true or not?
No, it's
okay.
You mean like have them do 60 frames per second versus 30 frames, so there's more frame, right?
Yeah.
It's time.
Because I wasn't sure if that relates to the audio too or just the video.
It's kind of a tricky thing because Final Cut, it only allows you to move by frames. If you treat in the audio world, there's an even smaller. You can move it even smaller than frames, but Final Cut, the biggest thing you can move is by one frame. That's it. So so either you do 60 frames per second or 30 frame. It doesn't really matter because it's only you can move it by one frame. It doesn't give you more if that's explaining it. So I would suggest especially if you're doing a lot of students, 4K 60p, it's gonna eat up your computer like crazy. So I would not suggest do any 4K at all.
Okay, and the second question is this is at the point where we actually extract the audio and send it to
yes.
Project?
Yes, okay. Yes. So that will be the next step I will show you.
All right, thank you. Okay,
any other questions?
I had a question about how do you feature, I mean, maybe you'll get to this, but if there's a solo, if there's something you want to pull out, or I'm in elementary, so some of the voices I want much lower, how you kind of manage that. And do you have a workflow for figuring that out? Like, oh, this is a great part. This is a great angle right here. Can you mark the video? Can you do something so that you can have notes or something? It just, there's so much video and so much footage. I'm not quite sure how to deal with it in a time, like a good way.
Yeah, so usually we would suggest for, let's say there's a kid, he's doing a solo, but he's singing really soft. At some point you want to make him louder. I would suggest do that in the audio editing part. If you thinking, I think that's the part we have to do either way. So you need to extract all the audio and then do the audio editing part. But that being said, Final Cut, you can also do that. Let me show you. I don't suggest doing it here, but it's doable. So let's say this singer, so this part, you can actually see it. Oh, she like this waveform is lower than this waveform. You see, she's softer right there, right? So I want to do basically we call keyframe. So there's two ways to do it. The quicker way is, so in here, you do the range selection, R on the keyboard. So I select this range over here. Let's say that's the solo part you want to be louder, right? So after you select it, go back to A, and you just bring up the volume here. So you see here, now she's louder. The maximum you can do it here is 12 dB. There's more ways to do it, but that will go into the rabbit hole, basically. But here that's the fastest, simplest way to do it. So, and here you can also, after you raise this, you can click, just get out to the selection. So this is basically the audio fade. It's like turning the volume knob. So you can move these. So move this to the time. So usually I will do this in the MD part, so you don't actually hear the volume cranking up while they're singing. So we'll move these to the part that's no singing. So now when the audio gets to this part, the student will be louder. And go to the other question about you want to feature in the video. We will step into that in the next part.
Great, thanks.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, I actually just had one question too. I did miss the previous portion of this, which I knew was more based around audio. I'm just curious, do you think for a project like this, for example, do you think the audio editing is something that like you're only editing the audio based around what its volumes and what's attached to the video itself? I mean, I know you could potentially export the audio from the videos and, then maybe use it in like Logic, for example. I'm not really sure if I'm phrasing my question properly other than would you suggest for a project like this, editing the audio within Final Cut and not bothering to take it outside of Final Cut? Because it seems like that would make the process a lot longer and more complicated. But I mean, I'm thinking about it too. I don't know if I'm answering my own questions when I'm saying this, because if we edited the audio outside of this and had something that, I guess sounded up to par with whatever we were looking for the performance, I mean, you could just go ahead and use those waves as, timing cues and then potentially mute them, right? Or do you think just editing all the audio within Final Cut is the better way of going about it? Is that more? Sorry, I know that's
no problem. The Final Cut, there's one thing it cannot do is mixing multiple audio tracks together. Technically you can do, there's a workaround to do it, but it's actually more trouble to do that. So I would say it's the fastest way, or the easy way to do it is to basically, after you synchronize in here, we extract each audio and put it in Logic to do the mixing of the whole thing. That will be actually easier. But that being said, this process we just talked here, you want to feature someone, or the opposite. Let's say, actually, that's one thing is kind of important when a student is not singing. You actually want to mute this part because there's probably like room noise, when they're not singing. So this part actually might be benefit to do it in Final Cut first, then because it's fast. So let's say I want to mute this part, there's no singing there, and I'll just do what we did, but opposite, just mute it. So you mute all the noise basically before you actually go to Logic. So this actually it is doable when in the Final Cut stage. But go back to the question. Yes, you will have to do it the final mix in Logic or GarageBand.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think I understand. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
What do you mean when you say angles? Do you mean each footage of each student?
Yes. So
students didn't film multiple angles of themselves, did they?
Yes. No. And angles means just each student. So angle one,
okay.
Student one. Angle two is student two. So,
got it. Didn't know the terminology.
Yes. No problem. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, so now you spend your hours spending your 100 students. We did that for full orchestra. So hundreds of them, they all line up with the clap, and you check all of them, they sound good. So now we go to the next step. So what we're going to do now is create a new project or command N. And you name it, I'll just say DoE test. Again, here you use the automatic setting. So that's give you the best way. So you don't have to think too much. So click OK. So now this is a timeline. You can go back and forth. So this is a back button. So if you want to, you feel like, oh, one of the students is still out of sync, you can always come back, or you can just double click the multi-clip to come back, or double click the project to go to the project. So we want to bring this to the timeline. So you can just basically drag it down and it'll be there. So now here's the thing. We're going to select each students, and we're going to extract their audio as one audio track. So in here, the multicam viewer. Oh, someone said, oh, why this black? Because the video is not on yet. So if you go out later, the video is on. So you can always drag the beginning to find a good spot. Let's say there now. And here, there's 3 tools over here on the top left. So first thing, I'll just explain what they are. So this means you see a film and the audio, like a wave sign. So if this is on, you see the film, enable video and audio switching. So whenever you click on this screen, so it will switch to the video and the audio of that student. So if you do only this thing in the middle, video only switching, it's just gonna switch what you're seeing. You can still hear what the audio that's the green box is on, okay? The last thing, basically, you just switching the audio. I want to listen to this track or a student. That's gonna be that. So in this stage, we want to use the first one. Okay, so we'll basically select one by one. Okay, first we have the lead. Just gonna go in a little more. So her audio and video is selected. What you're gonna do next is file, share, master file. Oh, proximity, yes. So before you share anything, just make sure you go back to view here and go back to original. Okay. So we'll click on the timeline, and then we'll share master file. So here, you have to rename this to the student. So she is a Popeye, or you can name it as parts. So in setting, format, audio only. So we just want audio track, audio only. Audio format, usually WAV is the best, the easiest one to do, okay? Select this two rows, just leave it, you don't have to do anything, setting. So next, basically, you will assign where you want to put this audio file. I would suggest you just create a new folder, let's say it's audio stamps, create, and just save it there. So basically what's happening now, if I open the background video, is sharing the audio. Just gonna take a couple seconds. Audio is usually is way faster. Great, that's done. And now if you go to your Finder, audio stamp, you'll see that audio is right here. So this track is extracted. So next thing what you're gonna do is do the exact same thing for all the students. So make sure, here's the important thing. Make sure this cursor, when you cut anything, is go back to the top. And then I'll click on the next student. Now we switch to her audio and video. That's her audio track. we do exactly the same thing. So we do, so before you share, you need to click back to here. Click back to this timeline. Otherwise, it will be grayed out. So now we can share master file, and then audio will it will stay on the audio setting. So you don't need to change this. You just need to do it once. Then it will stay audio only wave. Next, you can rename it here. Rename this how and save. You just click save. So then it would create the other audio. So do this step for all the students. Then in your folder, you will see all the audio stems, and they are all synchronized. So once you bring these into Logic or GarageBand, you can play back them and as like an audio session recorded, at the same time. And you would mix the level. You can do EQ. In every reverb, depends how much time you want to spend on it to get a good mix. Basically, eventually you will bounce a stereo wave file and bring that back to FinalCut. Okay, so once you have that mix, so I have it here already. This is the mix which you can hear the student. So you will go back to the angle editor. So you click this multi-clip again. So then you will click this part. This little arrow is so tiny, but it's definitely, you can to the bottom of the page, ideally, and you will add angle right here. So now you're just adding a new angle, and you will bring that mix you just did and go down. Oh, my lights goes out again. Hang on a second. 1 second. All right. Okay, I'm back. This yellow thing you see, it's basically you selecting the in and out point of the clip. So make sure the whole clip is selected. So if you select it here, it's just only give you the half of the clip. So make sure the whole thing's selected, and then you can drag it down. So here you will, again, you need to line this new audio mix to the guide track again. This will be easier because the guide track is already in this mix. So we do that process just basically moving it to where it's supposed to be, and when it's lined up, and you're good to go. So now let's say, all right, you've done all these steps. So now let's start editing. Finally, editing. So in this window, we'll go to find, okay, this is the time. You can name this, let's say this is the audio mix. So we can rename it, you can see it here. So now we want to listen to this mix. So we'll click this green button, click on it. So now what you will be listening is the audio mix, and we'll just cut the videos. So if I play back now, let me go back to the proxy. So it's too heavy now. So proxy mode again. So that's basically you're editing with low res video. And if you're on the laptop, you say, oh, one more space, we can actually close this window. So basically in workspace, you just close the browser there, then you have more space to work on. Now, let's go to the grouping that I mentioned earlier. Let's say you brass, I would just say I'll group female. Let's say one of the female group. So first what I'm going to do is with select tool, I'll just click on this option, drag. So you will see the green plus. So basically this is going to add one layer on top, and I would basically just mute this layer. You only want to hear one audio, so this will be muted. And I'll select a female. Let's see this first one, and I'll repeat the steps. So I'll drag on top, select the second female, drag on top, select the third female or definition. So make sure they're all lined up. If it's out, that's going to out of sync. So don't make sure they're all in the same place. So after that, I would select all three of them. You press, you can, let's see, this is, yeah, sorry, I always use the hotkeys. I don't remember where they are. It's modify. So I'll get to that again. So in the keyboard, you press Option G. So I'll name this group female. Cool. So I got one group. So now I want to group another group. Let's say it's a. I only got 4 here, but I'll just do, I would say, a different group. So you can basically, if you press V, if you select the clip, you press V on the keyboard, you're just gonna mute that clip for now. So you just, you don't want to see it for now. So I'll do the same process. Again, I'll copy that, make sure the volume is off, and I'll group this differently. So let's say I'll put this 2-person together. So I'll select them, again, Option G. I would say just say group 2 for now, or you can you know. So now group 2 is this folder. Okay, so you're gonna do that for your sections, and why you're gonna do that, I'll explain why. So now the next thing you're gonna do after you group the different instruments, so I'll double click and go in here. So in this window, I only see one person because you actually need to organize them in this group. So let me close the multicam real quick. So on Command 4 will open the inspector over here. Or if it's showing workspace, inspector, yeah, it's right here if you want to go from window. So Command 4, you see this inspector. So let's say I want to, this is a group of students I want to show on one page. So I'm gonna organize them. So let's say I want to put this person on the left, we can position left, and we can crop a video, and we'll select, let's say we want this one on the right, put it on the right. It's like basically at this point, it's like Photoshop. So it will be, we'll be dealing with layers, and we crop her left, move her a little more, and this is a little more left. So now you have a group like this, or you can do scale if you want them as like small boxes. You can scale them, and you can basically move them around if you have like 16 or different amount of students. So you can basically, this is where you're gonna adjust all the boxes. Sometimes because all the students gonna have different sizes. Even here you can say hers is like super close, hers like medium, and hers a little bit far away. You can kind of doing some adjustment here, like I can zoom in more her so she's more balanced with the others. Actually, this we kind of we told, there's another clip. The student, you don't want them to cut their head, so make sure when they're videotaping, tell them don't cut their head off. So that's when they're filming, they need to make sure there's headroom on top. So here, okay, let's say I'm happy with this group. So this group can be any instrument group. So I'll go back, and let's go to the other group. So it's group 2. So this one, I want to do just to left, put it on the left, copy left, I'll put him left here, and I'll zoom in a little more and look in closer. It looks pretty good. One little tool can help you, so if you click View, Show Horizon. So it's like a ruler. You can kind of know if this is the center. It's just a ruler, so it's like Photoshop. It can help you to put the boxes in a good place. So you can turn it off when you're done. Group 2 looks good. Okay. She might need more space. Okay, that's it. All right, now back to here. So now in the timeline, we have two groups. So this is group 2, and there's a female. So in your case, it will be different instrumentation, full orchestra, half orchestra, woodwinds. So you have different groups stacking on top of each other. So this bottom track, you basically, I will make. Let me open the multi-view again. So Command Shift 7. So here, we don't want to see this, so we just basically click the video to here as well. So this is just the audio track on the bottom. So here we have different groups. Let's cut between them. So how do we do that? Basically, you will use a blade tool. Let's say with a song, we want to start the song with just the female group. So I'm gonna select the group 2 and press V. So that's gonna mute that group. So now the first thing we see is just this group. So let's say from this point, from here, we want to see the other group. So what we're gonna do is do blade tool, or you can do from here B or that. I'll just basically cut both of them. Let's just say this chunk I want to see group 2. So I just cut that back to A, and I'll just click this clip, V, and V. So now basically from here to here. You see, now we're switching different groups. So it's the reason why we want to group all the different groupings, so you don't have to, every time you switch, you need to do all that step again. So you just do this basically box, like putting the box around just once, basically. Then you're good for a while. Any questions so far?
Yeah, sorry. How did you get to that group view where you had the two angles in just the group itself?
You can just double click on it.
All right, cool.
Double click on it. Or awesome. Let me open my browser again. So in the browser, you will see it. It will show up here. You see group 2, female, and just double click here as well.
So in today's event, it'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It'll be there.
Killing. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, Simon. So when you put the groups, it's automatically going to sync up the video to the same point that it's up to with the audio. Do you know what I mean? Like it's.
Yes.
I'm just confused at how when you select a group at a different point in the piece, does it know what? How is it synchronized like that? I don't get it.
You did it in the beginning. That's what we have. So in the beginning, when we do this multi-clip, where we synchronize, so that synchronized everything. So you did this in the very beginning. You synchronized everything in one multi-clip. So now here, whatever you do, it's always in sync.
Okay.
So you did it, basically. You did it you would do it, the synchronization in the beginning.
So it doesn't matter what point you're doing it in, it's already synchronized, no matter what.
Yes, but be careful, don't move them around. If you move them, then it's out of sync. So don't move them around.
Okay.
Yes. So just treat this like it's like a Lego, basically. It shows the top, it always shows the top layer. If I just, let's see. So if I mute this one, there's nothing because there's nothing on. If I turn this back on, it's back on. So V is the switching on and off. And you can use the blade tool to basically find the spot you want to show, and you just build this, like say, I want to switch this here and switch it back here, switch it back here. So it's like building blocks to cut between many different groups, basically.
Okay, Great. Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah. So yes.
sorry, I just wanted to just double check everything that's going on here. So it looks like there's two, let's call them tracks, I guess, of video. One is that 3 group, and then the other one is the 2 group, female and 2. Where in the, like, I guess, session or whatever at the bottom, where do I have the videos? Where would I see the videos of the solo video? Cameras, or is that just not there anymore?
You can make it a solo. So
Gotcha.
basically, let's do that. So
it's
the same way.
Can I ask a question, please? So what if you have 24 kids on the screen? Do you have to lay out them one by one, or is it any way to select all and it automatically will put it nicely on the screen?
No, you have to do it by yourself.
Do you recommend to use a special template, or is it already somewhere hiding in Final Cut, like a template or something, so it's sitting nicely?
No, unfortunately that's not like a template. You can just click and it will do it. You have to do it manually, like we work.
Oh, I see. I see.
You need to do math. Like if you have 16 students, then 100%, and you can just move them around. So unfortunately, you have to do it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, so let's go back to the solo. Okay, so basically it's the same thing. We just basically, instead of doing a group of students, let me turn this on and turn back the browser. So let's see, this is a soloist, okay? So now he has his own track, so you don't have to group. So it's the same thing.
Okay, got it. So
in this, let's say this point, it's his solo, and this basically that's him over there.
So nothing in that one that you have down there, the solo male voice there, that's not going to show up unless you like isolate it and kind of have it lit up the way that the chunks are up there.
Yes, if it's basically, if something on top is basically in the cover, it's like if you look, it's like looking down from top. So
understood.
But usually I recommend even that you might when you move this around, you might have some holes on the. It happened to me sometimes. So it's just some space. You might see the video in the bottom. So usually what I would do is just do the same. So at that point, I'll just cut this chunk with the blade, and I'll just select the others and black it. So it's no chance they're going to show up.
Got it.
So now you got a solo right here.
Okay, cool. All right. I just wanted to make sure. So what you were just showing us was, hypothetically just using that group of 3 females and then that group of 2, the 1 female and the male. But and now what we're seeing is incorporating just that one.
Yes. Well, speaking of that, actually, I can dip in a little more. So this is not a group, as you see. There's a 1, and actually you can cut between different people. So if I go back to this, if I play it, make sure it's this tool film only select. So you can now.
Oh, so nice, so beautiful.
Yeah, you can just cut by clicking on them, or just keyboard on your keypads 1, 2, 3, 4, or up to 9. And so you just cut between. Now it's just Final Cut can memorize what it is, and you can play back. It will. Let me just close that. So it's so here you can also adjust the. Let's say the time is a little off. You can do this trim tool, and if you go in here, select the trim, so you can extend it or more. Depends musically what it is.
Can you go over how you did that real quick again?
So transition. Oh, sorry. Here.
No, get to the different views in the one multi-clip.
Multi-clip. Okay, so you open that Command Shift 7. Select 2, and basically you just play back. So it will.
You're just pressing 1, 2, 3, or 4 during that time, or clicking on the different view that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. Cool. Thank you.
No problem. So that's the linear. We call it linear. This is the linear. Oh, sorry, linear editing, and then these are the group editing. So yeah, it depends on, you know, if you want to go solo, you go here, and you go groups, and you can go like there. Okay, we got a few minutes left. One thing I can show real quick before we go
by
back.
the way, we have we extended this till 5:50, I think.
It's 5:50 now.
Well, no, we extended till 5:55, so we do have another 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. So, so if you want, let's say you want to take a step further. I'll show you.
A question in the chat. I don't know if you've seen the chat.
Oh, I don't see it. Can you?
The question was, how did you put the audio back after you mixed it in Logic? I guess is the.
Okay, I see. I think we showed it, but I can show it.
Okay, well,
one more time.
Thank you.
You got it? Okay. We got that question covered?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I have one more question, please. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you have any resources like cool websites for special effects, like overlays? Like I know story blocks have a special like Santa on the screen for kids or something.
Shutterstock has a lot of good stuff.
Can you put it in the chat, please? Like your, most liked websites you can recommend for special effects and, adding something cool to the videos. Thank you.
That's usually the background. Let me put it the chat. So www.shutterstock. So effect-wise, Final Cut itself has a lot of good stuff in it you can use already. You can basically click, let's say I want to put some effects on this group, I can do right here, or Apple 5, this is the effect. Oh, my lights are going off again, sorry. So you can play with it, there's tons of it here. But I would warn you, it's gonna be heavy on your computer, whatever you put on, so just be aware of that. Let's say I like this one. So you see, if I just drag this to this clip over here, now this thing will be that special effect. And you can turn it on and off. So basically, if you select a group, let's say you can do adjustment on the effect right here. And if you don't like it, we'll just uncheck it. So. Again, I usually, like most of the video I don't put any effects in it because it's really heavy for your computer. And one other simple effect I can show it real quick is if you want to move the box around, let's say that's from here to here, I want this kit to fly from right to left. So I would, this is inside the group 2. I'll select this point. So here's what we call keyframe. So we go to transform, this position, or add a keyframe here. You see it will turn orange. And I'll go to the endpoint, I'll go to keyframe here. So, and you can go back and forth with this arrow. So the first keyframe, I would say, I want the student flying in from the right side. So I'll move her out of frame. And I want her to end up in, let's say, in the middle or like that. So now, if I play back, slowly, oh, that's a long clip. So slowly, you see she's flying in.
Wow, that's really cool. Thank you.
So yeah, you can play with it. You can do anything with the keyframe. So I can make you can cancel it by just clicking this again. So that will cancel that keyframe. So you can make instead of position, you can do scale. I'll do. Oh, we've got our time. Okay, so I guess that's it for now. Hopefully you get what you need. And again, you can come back to this video and watch it slow.